Ash Lake. Hidden deep beneath the world of Dark Souls lies Ash Lake, a vast ethereal shoreline shrouded in mystery and silence. Located at the very bottom of the Great Hollow, this secret area is one of the most visually stunning yet eerily empty places in the game. Towering stone arched trees stretch endlessly into the sky and water, creating a dreamlike horizon that reflects the primordial origin of the world. Lore-wise, Ash Lake is believed to be a remnant of the Age of Ancients, a time before fire, where dragons ruled and the world was unformed. It's the last glimpse we get of that age, untouched by time or flame. The only NPC here is a lone, everlasting dragon, offering a rare covenant, the Path of the Dragon. The player, the chosen undead, has no mandatory reason to come here. It's entirely optional and rarely even found by most players on their first run. There are no major bosses, but a Hydra roams the waters, serving as a final challenge. Ash Lake doesn't play a direct role in the main story, but symbolically, it represents the beginning and potentially the end of the cycle. Its serene silence contrasts the chaos above, making it a powerful metaphor for the stillness that came before the Age of Fire. Though mentioned only subtly in game lore and not central to the plot, it ranks among the most atmospheric locations for hardcore fans. It's not referenced in other game parts directly, but the design of arch trees and primordial dragons throughout the Dark Souls trilogy echoes Ash Lake's ancient essence. Despite its emptiness, Ash Lake is a hauntingly beautiful reminder of where it all began. Demon Ruins. Hidden beneath Quelaag's domain, the Demon Ruins are a fiery, chaotic wasteland bathed in orange light and molten lava. This is where the Witch of Izalith's failed attempt to recreate the First Flame gave birth to demons, turning the once great city into a ruined hellscape. The area is home to several major bosses like the Demon Fire Sage and Centipede Demon, but it's often criticized for its repetitive layout and copy-pasted enemies. Despite this, it plays a key role in the main story, as the chosen undead must pass through here to access Lost Izalith and defeat the Bed of Chaos, one of the four beings with a Lord Soul. While the design feels rushed, its lore impact is massive, unveiling the tragic origin of demons and the consequences of tampering with primal forces. Though it doesn't appear directly in other games, its influence echoes through the chaos themes in the Dark Souls trilogy. The Great Hollow. Tucked away behind an illusory wall in Blighttown lies the Great Hollow, a massive spiraling tree trunk filled with twisting roots, deadly drops, and rare enemies like basilisks that can curse the player. This entirely optional area serves as a hidden vertical gauntlet where the chosen undead must carefully descend through narrow branches and ladders to reach the secretive Ash Lake at the bottom. While it holds no major bosses or direct story progression, its role in the lore is fascinating, implying a world built upon arch trees and ancient depths, echoing the primordial structure of existence. The Great Hollow represents a direct path back to the Age of Ancients, making it symbolic rather than functional. It's often missed by casual players, but loved by lore enthusiasts for its world building. The area doesn't return directly in later games, but influences the idea of world layering seen throughout the series. Though short and risky, the Great Hollow ranks as one of Dark Souls' most mysterious and rewarding discoveries. Sen's Fortress. Perched above the undead parish, Sen's Fortress is a deadly, trap-filled stronghold that serves as the gateway to Anor Londo. It only opens after the chosen undead rings both bells of awakening, symbolizing their readiness to face the true trials ahead. Designed like a cruel labyrinth, the fortress is packed with swinging blades, pressure plates, boulder traps, serpent soldiers, and powerful giants guarding its heights. Built by King Seeker Frampt or the gods themselves, its origins remain vague. Its purpose is to test those who would become a lord. The Iron Golem awaits at the top as the area's boss, guarding the magical contraption that transports the player to Anor Londo. Despite its punishing difficulty, Sen's Fortress is a fan favorite thanks to its clever level design and satisfying challenge. It doesn't reappear in later games, but heavily influences other trap-based zones across the series. For the chosen undead, conquering it marks a major turning point from surviving Lordran to stepping into the realm of gods. The Catacombs. Located beneath the Firelink Shrine graveyard, the Catacombs are a dark, labyrinthine network of tunnels filled with undead skeletons, narrow bridges, and hidden switches. Early players often stumble in unprepared, only to be overwhelmed by enemies that constantly revive until they learn the trick. Necromancers must be killed to keep skeletons down for good. The area serves as the gateway to the deeper, more dangerous Tomb of the Giants, and eventually to the resting place of Gravlord Nito, one of the holders of the Lord Soul. souls. Though optional at first, the catacombs become vital later when the player must acquire Naito's soul. The environment is eerie and claustrophobic, designed to test both patience and observation. Lore-wise, the catacombs act as a massive burial ground and holy site for death cultists, including those in Nito's Gravelord servant covenant. While it doesn't directly return in later games, its design influences similar dungeon-like areas across the trilogy. For the chosen undead, it's a descent not just into the earth, but into the heart of death itself. The New London Ruins. Beneath Firelink Shrine lies the New Lundo Ruins, a flooded, ghost-infested city steeped in tragedy and sorrow. Once a thriving human kingdom, New Lundo was sacrificed by the gods after its rulers, the Four Kings, fell to the abyss. To prevent the spread of darkness, the city was submerged, drowning thousands of innocents along with its corrupted lords. The player must explore this eerie, waterlogged ruin, using transient curses to fight the vengeful spirits that haunt its depths. After draining the water through the Valley of Drakes, the city's true horror is revealed. A sunken wasteland crawling with dark wraiths and cursed history. At its heart lies the Abyss, where the chosen undead must face the Four Kings to claim a Lord Soul and fulfill their destiny. Lore-wise, New Lundo is crucial in understanding the corruptive power of the Abyss and the fragility of kingdoms. While it doesn't return directly in later games, its legacy lives on especially in Dark Souls 3 with Lundor, the Land of Hollows. New Lundo Ruins ranks high for atmosphere and lore, turning a drowned city into one of Dark Souls' most haunting and unforgettable zones. Darkroot Garden. Tucked behind a sealed door near the Undead Parish, Darkroot Garden is a lush, mysterious forest shrouded in fog and ancient secrets. Its winding paths are guarded by enchanted trees, stone knights, and illusionary enemies. But the real draw is its lore-rich depth and PvP history. At the heart of the forest lies the grave of Knight Artorias, guarded by his loyal companion, the legendary boss, Great Grey Wolf Sif. To reach him, the chosen undead must acquire the Crest of Artorias and prove themselves worthy. The area also served as one of the earliest PvP hotspots in Souls history, thanks to the Forest Hunter Covenant, which allowed players to defend the forest from trespassers. Darkroot Garden connects directly to the Artorias of the Abyss DLC through its lore, hinting at the Knight's Fall and the encroaching Abyss. While it's not essential to beat the game, its emotional impact, especially the tragic battle with Sif, makes it unforgettable. The forest's themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and decay echo throughout the trilogy, with similar zones appearing in Dark Souls 3. For many, Darkroot Garden isn't just a location, it's a defining moment of the Dark Souls experience. Painted World of Ariamis. The Painted World of Ariamis is a hidden, self-contained realm tucked inside a mysterious painting located in Anor Londo's cathedral. To access it, the chosen undead must first retrieve the peculiar doll from the starting undead asylum and then be drawn into the painting. Inside lies a snowy, decayed world cut off from the outside home to exiled creatures, undead warriors, harpies, and toxic monstrosities. Its gothic, oppressive atmosphere contrasts starkly with other areas, making it feel like a cursed, forgotten dimension. At its heart resides Crossbreed Priscilla, a gentle yet powerful being who offers the rare chance to walk away peacefully instead of fighting. Lore suggests Ariamis created this world to hide or protect unwanted beings like Priscilla from the cruelty of the gods. While the area is entirely optional and doesn't tie directly into the main quest, it's rich with hidden details, mysterious lore, and some of the game's most unique enemies. Though not revisited directly, the concept returns in Dark Souls 3 with the Painted World of Ariandel, a spiritual successor. The Painted World of Ariamis remains a fan favorite for its haunting beauty and the sense of forgotten tragedy it carries, ranking high among the game's most memorable optional zones. Lost Izalith. Deep beneath the demon ruins, surrounded by oceans of lava and chaos-born abominations, lies Lost Izalith, a once great city now reduced to a burning ruin. It was here the Witch of Izalith attempted to recreate the first flame using her own soul, a desperate act that backfired and gave birth to the Flame of Chaos, turning her and her children into grotesque demons. What remains is a crumbling, lava-flooded wasteland filled with repetitive enemy designs like dozens of identical Taurus demons and zombie dragons dragons, making it one of the most criticized areas in the game. Despite its design flaws, Lost Izalith plays a major role in the lore and main story, as the chosen undead must come here to defeat the Bed of Chaos, a chaotic tree-like creature born from the witch herself, and one of the 4 beings holding a lord soul. Its legacy echoes throughout the series, with chaos and demon elements reappearing in Dark Souls 2 and 3. Though most players rush through it due to its frustrating layout, Lost Izalith is essential to understanding the price of tampering with primal fire, and how ambition led to one of the greatest tragedies in Lordran's history. Tomb of the Giants. The Tomb of the Giants is a terrifying, lightless abyss that lies deep beneath the catacombs, serving as the final resting place of countless dead and the domain of Gravelord Naito, one of the original lords. After acquiring the Lord Vessel, the chosen undead must brave this pitch-black labyrinth, using a skull lantern or a light spell to even see the path ahead. Massive skeletal beasts roam the darkness, and every step risks falling into bottomless pits, making it one of the most punishing areas in terms of navigation and tension. Visually bleak and stripped of color, the tomb amplifies the fear of the unknown players must move cautiously, guided only by faint glimmers and bone-chilling roars. Along the way, key NPCs like Rhea of Thorelund appear in tragic story arcs, revealing the corruption that has infected even those who came seeking holy purpose. The area leads directly to Naito's lair, where the chosen undead must claim one of the 4 Lord Souls to succeed Gwyn. Lore-wise, the tomb reflects the consequences of embracing death as a source of power, and Naito's eerie silence reinforces his role as a passive but immense force of nature. Through the area's design is controversial due to poor visibility and tricky terrain, its oppressive horror atmosphere and narrative importance make Tomb of the Giants a memorable, if harrowing, descent into the heart of darkness. Firelink Shrine. Firelink Shrine is the emotional and geographical heart of Dark Souls, the first true sanctuary the chosen undead reaches after escaping the undead asylum. Located atop the ruins of a forgotten kingdom, it offers a peaceful contrast to the brutal world beyond, with sweeping views of Lordran and quiet music that instills a sense of safety. This central hub is where players level up, manage gear, and meet key NPCs like the Crestfallen Warrior, Anastasia of Astora, and later Kingseeker Frampt, who explains your role in linking the fire. Despite its serenity, Firelink is not immune to tragedy. Anastasia is murdered, the bonfire can be extinguished, and several NPCs meet grim ends, reminding players that even havens aren't safe from the curse of the undead. Firelink also serves as a major nexus, connecting to nearly all key areas New Lundo, Catacombs, Undead Burg, and Blighttown through hidden paths and elevators. Lore suggests it rests on sacred ground, tied to ancient firekeepers, reinforcing its spiritual weight in the story. Its legacy continues in Dark Souls 3, where a reimagined version appears, symbolizing the eternal cycle of fire and rebirth. For many players, Firelink Shrine isn't just a checkpoint, it's the emotional anchor of the game, the calm before the storm, and the place where every journey begins and often ends. Undead Parish. The Undead Parish is a towering Gothic section of Lordran, located just above the Undead Burg. Serving as a key early game zone, it marks a shift from narrow alleyways to open courtyards and massive church structures. This area is best known for its boss fight against the Bell Gargoyles atop the parish roof, one of the game's first major skill checks, and a true test of timing, patience, and panic control. It's also home to some crucial NPCs like Andre of Astora, the game's most important blacksmith, and Knight Lautrec, whose sinister story arc unfolds if you free him from his cell. The parish is closely tied to the plot, as ringing the Bell of Awakening atop the church is one half of unlocking the path to Sen's Fortress. Lore-wise, the parish once served as a stronghold for the Way of White, evidenced by the undead clerics and knights patrolling its grounds. Its descent into madness mirrors Lordran's wider decay. While the area is solidly designed and atmospheric, it's often overshadowed by more iconic zones later in the game. Still, for many players, the Undead Parish is the place where Dark Souls truly clicks, offering tough enemies, vertical level design, and a clear sense of progression. It doesn't return in later games, but its legacy as the first real step toward becoming the chosen undead remains unforgettable. Darkroot Basin. Darkroot Basin is a hidden, tranquil forest area tucked beneath the Darkroot Garden, accessed by descending a narrow path near Andre of Astora or exploring the depths of the forest itself. This misty, waterlogged valley is visually stunning, with dense trees, ruins, and a shimmering lake guarded by a massive Hydra boss. The area offers an eerie calm that contrasts with the tension of nearby zones, making it feel like a forgotten corner of Lordran. Lore suggests this place was once part of Ulakaya, a lost kingdom tied deeply to the Abyss, and later expanded upon in the Artorias of the Abyss DLC. It's also where players can fight Dusk of Ulasail's Golden Crystal Golem, unlocking access to the DLC if the right steps are taken. Though optional and easy to miss, the basin plays a quiet but important role in connecting the world's timeline, foreshadowing the events that led to the fall of Ulasail. It doesn't appear in other Dark Souls games by name, but its spiritual design and mysterious aura live on. For players seeking beauty, hidden lore, and atmospheric depth, Darkroot Basin remains one of the most underrated gems in the entire game. The Northern Undead Asylum. The Northern Undead Asylum is where every journey in Dark Souls begins, an isolated, grim prison located far from Lordran, used to contain those cursed with the dark sign. Cold, gray, and oppressive, the asylum acts as the game's tutorial zone, teaching players the basic mechanics through trial, death, and punishment. It's here the chosen undead awakens in a cramped cell, only to be freed by a mysterious knight who drops a key from above, setting your fate in motion. The asylum introduces your first boss, the Asylum Demon, a towering brute that tests your reflexes and patience. After escaping via a giant crow, you're taken to Firelink Shrine to begin your true quest. However, the asylum isn't just a one-time visit. Later in the game, players can return to find the area in a decayed state, now home to tougher enemies and the hidden stray demon boss. This revisit also reveals critical lore, like the body of the knight who helped you and hidden items tied to your past. Though it's a relatively small area, its significance is immense, representing the starting point of the undead curse, your isolation from the world, and the cruel fate that binds every cursed soul. While not as beloved as other zones, the Northern Undead Asylum remains iconic for setting the tone of Dark Souls' bleak, mysterious, and merciless from the very first steps. The Kiln of the First Flame. The Kiln of the First Flame is the final, haunting destination in Dark Souls, unlocked after acquiring all 4 Lord Souls and placing them in the Lord Vessel. Hidden beyond the sealed doors at Firelink Altar, the Kiln is located at the heart of the world, where Gwyn first linked the First Flame to prolong the Age of Fire. The area is bathed in ash, silence, and glowing embers, creating a haunting, almost sacred atmosphere that perfectly captures the weight of your journey. Ruined, blackened structures, and the twisted remains of the once glorious Age of Fire surround you as you make your way toward the game's ultimate encounter. This short but powerful zone is home to the Black Knights, who once followed Lord Gwyn and now silently wander the Kiln in eternal duty. At its end lies Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, whose tragic fall from a godlike king to a hollowed husk reflects the central themes of sacrifice, decay, and the endless cycle of fire and dark. Your battle with him determines the fate of the world, either rekindling the flame to continue the Age of Fire or letting it fade into the Age of Dark. Though brief, the Kiln of the First Flame is unforgettable for its quiet majesty, lore importance, and emotional payoff. It appears again in Dark Souls 3, where the cycle continues, proving that all things return to the flame in the end. Anor Londo. Anor Londo is the majestic golden city of the gods, perched high above Lordran and accessible only after conquering Sen's fortress. Bathed in eternal sunlight and divine architecture, it stands as the most awe-inspiring location in Dark Souls, a shining relic of the Age of Fire. Once the seat of Lord Gwyn and the gods, Anor Londo now lies nearly abandoned, with only a few powerful guardians remaining. Its most iconic moment comes with the boss battle against Ornstein and Smaug, widely considered one of the toughest and most memorable fights in the series, testing everything you've learned so far. The area also plays a pivotal role in the story. It's where you meet Guinevere, who tasks you with linking the fire, though later it's revealed she's merely an illusion maintained by Gwendolyn to preserve the illusion of divinity. Anor Londo represents the last echo of a dying age, grand, hollow, and deceptive beneath its beauty. The place returns in Dark Souls 3, but now drowned in cold moonlight and renamed Erethel of the Boreal Valley, symbolizing how far the world has fallen. For the chosen undead, Anor Londo is a turning point, a test of resolve, a glimpse at divine decay, and a reminder that even gods cannot escape the passage of time. The Depths. The Depths is a grimy, labyrinthine sewer system buried beneath the lower undead burg, acting as a gateway to Blighttown. Filthy, damp, and crawling with cursed creatures like basilisks and rats, this area plunges the chosen undead into one of the game's most claustrophobic and dreaded environments. Its maze-like design is filled with narrow corridors, hidden bonfires, slime-coated ceilings, and surprise ambushes that punish careless players. The biggest threat isn't just physical, it's the curse status effect, which can permanently halve your HP until cured. At the end of the Depths lies the grotesque gaping dragon, a corrupted beast that once was a noble dragon but mutated due to endless hunger. Defeating it opens the path to Blighttown via the Depths' lower exit. Though not a fan favorite due to its gloomy atmosphere and status effects, the Depths plays an important transitional role in Dark Souls, showing the rot beneath Lordran's surface and forcing players to face despair head on. It doesn't reappear in later titles, but its design echoes in many dungeon-like zones across the series. For lore hunters and completionists, the Depths remains a memorable descent into darkness even if most players try to skip it entirely. Ulasile Township. Ulasile Township is a key location in the Artorias of the Abyss DLC, found deep within the past of Lordran. Once a peaceful city of magic and learning, it has been twisted into a nightmarish ruin after the spread of the Abyss corrupted its people, reached after traveling through the Sanctuary Garden and Royal Wood. The township's atmosphere is haunting dark alleyways, screeching enemies, and eerie architecture reflect the madness overtaking the land. It's filled with aggressive bloathead sorcerers and shadowy foes, making it one of the most intense and story-rich areas in the game. The township plays a crucial role in understanding the lore behind Manus, father of the Abyss, whose influence shattered the minds of Ulasile's citizens. It's also where players face chained prisoner, corrupted humanity phantoms, and ultimately make their descent into the Abyss itself. As the chosen undead, your journey through Ulakile is not only a fight for survival, but an act of preservation trying to stop the darkness from consuming all. Though it only appears in the DLC, Ulasile Township holds immense narrative weight and reveals the terrifying origin of the Abyss that echoes across the entire Dark Souls series. Crystal Cave. Crystal Cave is a breathtaking but punishing area located beyond the Duke's archives, hidden deep within Anorlando's mountain range. After navigating through the archives and defeating Siath's channelers, the chosen undead enters this shimmering, otherworldly cave filled with glowing crystal formations and towering golems. Visually, it's one of the most stunning zones in Dark Souls, but it's infamous for its frustrating invisible walkways suspended over deadly drops. Players must rely on falling snowflakes and messages to guide their path, making it a test of both patience and perception. This cave serves as the lair of Sath the Scaleless, one of Gwyn's original allies, and a traitor to his own dragonkind. Saith betrayed the everlasting dragons in exchange for immortality, and conducted cruel experiments here, seeking the secret to eternal life. The chosen undead confronts him at the cave's end, destroying his immortality-granting primordial crystal before the final battle. The Crystal Cave doesn't reappear in future titles, but its themes, fragile beauty, madness, and betrayal echo throughout the series. Despite its beautiful visuals, most players remember it more for slipping to their deaths than for its lore, making it a divisive but unforgettable part of the journey. The Valley of Drakes. The Valley of Drakes is a narrow, foreboding canyon that acts as a natural crossroads between several key locations in Dark Souls, including Firelink Shrine, Darkroot Basin, Blighttown, and the New Lundo Ruins. Tucked along the edge of a vast cliffside and overlooking an ominous chasm, this area feels more like a hidden passage than a full-fledged zone, but it serves a critical role in the game's world design. It offers players early access to more dangerous regions if they're brave or skilled enough to attempt the journey, making it a high-risk shortcut with significant consequences if approached unprepared. Visually, the valley is bleak and haunting, lit by a sickly blue light and echoing with the growls of undead drakes, small wyvern-like creatures that patrol the ledges. While these enemies are not as fearsome as full dragons, they hit hard and are especially punishing to early game players who may find the area accidentally. A decaying zombie dragon lies dormant near one edge, and if approached, it springs to life in a terrifying optional encounter. These draconic remnants reinforce the overarching overarching theme of Dark Souls, the fading of great powers and the cursed legacy left behind. In terms of lore, the Valley of Drakes is thought to be a graveyard or leftover nest of dragons who survived the war against Gwyn and the gods, though in a twisted undead form. The presence of decaying creatures here suggests a slow death, both literal and symbolic, for the age of ancients' once mighty rulers. This theme continues if players notice the gate connecting to New Lundo ruins, where the abyss began its spread, hinting that the corruption from below and the death of dragons are linked. While the area is optional and lacks a boss of its own, its real value lies in world building and navigation. It gives players freedom in exploration, provides important items like the red tearstone ring, and can even be used to bypass tougher parts of the game if the player knows the route. Though often overlooked, the Valley of Drakes is a quiet, eerie zone that encapsulates Dark Souls philosophy. Nothing is wasted, and every path, no matter how small, is laced with history and danger. The Duke's Archives. The Duke's Archives is a sprawling, magical library fortress located in the upper reaches of Anor Londo, just before the entrance to the Crystal Cave. This vast repository of forbidden knowledge and arcane experiments was constructed by Seath the Scaleless, the pale, traitorous dragon who sided with Gwyn during the war against the Everlasting Dragons. In exchange for betraying his kin, Seth was granted a dukedom and created this labyrinthine archive to continue his obsessive research into immortality, sorcery, and the manipulation of life itself. The area is divided into several sections, elegant hallways lined with towering bookshelves, a prison tower filled with grotesque experiments like the mind-shattered Pasakas, and crystalline halls humming with arcane energy. The chosen undead first arrives here in search of the Lord Soul Shard Seath possesses, but is swiftly defeated in an unavoidable first encounter. Imprisoned and stripped of their gear, the player must escape, unravel the maze-like structure, and face Seath again, this time in his true domain deep in the Crystal Cave, where his immortality is tied to a fragile primordial crystal. The archives also serve as a major turning point in the story. They represent the corruption of knowledge, what happens when the pursuit of truth and power is unchained from morality. Syath's madness, caused by his inability to understand mortality, and his lust for eternal life, is etched into every corner of this place. From the hypnotic music playing in the prison tower, to the aggressive crystal soldiers patrolling the halls, the archives ooze a sense of quiet dread. Though it only appears in the first Dark Souls, the Duke's Archives is heavily referenced in the game's lore and spiritual successors. It stands as a haunting testament to one of the most tragic and dangerous figures in the series. For the Chosen Undead, it's not just a trial of combat and navigation, it's a descent into one of the darkest minds in Lordran's history. Blighttown. Blighttown is one of the most infamous and dreaded areas in Dark Souls, both for its brutally challenging design and its symbolic descent into darkness. Located far beneath the depths, it's a rotting shantytown of wooden scaffolds, poison swamps, and diseased horrors that test both the player's patience and skill. Blighttown serves as the treacherous gateway to Quelaag's domain and the second bell of awakening, making it a mandatory stop on the Chosen Undead's journey. From the moment you enter, everything is designed to disorient. Toxic dart snipers, narrow ledges, unstable footing, and an atmosphere thick with filth and dread. Lore-wise, Blighttown is a dumping ground for Lordran's unwanted outcasts, mutants, and the cursed. It's closely tied to the fall of Izalith, as many of its monstrous inhabitants are descended from the failed experiments and chaos spawned during the Witch of Izalith's disastrous attempt to recreate the First Flame. At the bottom lies the Poison Swamp, and nearby, the Great Hollow and Ash Lake can be accessed, further expanding the idea that this pit is an ancient, forgotten world buried beneath civilization. For the player, Blighttown represents a pivotal trial. Its sheer hostility, paired with technical issues like infamous frame rate drops on older consoles, made it one of the most talked about zones in the game. Yet despite, or perhaps because of its difficulty, it remains iconic. Surviving Blighttown feels like earning your place in the brutal world of Dark Souls, proving that the true horror isn't just in its monsters, but in enduring the world's indifference and decay. The Royal Wood. The Royal Wood is a hauntingly overgrown forest located in the past version of Ulasile, accessible only through the Artorias of the Abyss DLC in Dark Souls. This ancient woodland lies just before the Ulasile township, and it serves as a battleground scarred by the encroaching abyss. Once a lush and noble hunting ground, the forest has become corrupted and twisted by darkness, its guardians either fallen or warped. Its towering trees and foggy pathways hide dangerous enemies, including stone Stone Guardians, corrupted humans, and the infamous Chained Prisoner Sanctuary Guardian mini-boss. The Royal Wood's most significant role is as the lead-up to one of the most emotional and legendary boss battles in Dark Souls history, Knight Artorias. The player discovers that Artorias, one of Gwyn's 4 knights, ventured into the abyss to stop its spread but succumbed to its corruption. By the time the chosen undead meets him, he's a broken, maddened shadow of the hero he once was. Defeating him becomes a somber, almost tragic moment, emphasizing the game's themes of fallen glory and fading honor. Lore-wise, the Royal Wood offers a glimpse into the past before the modern Darkroot Garden and Darkroot Basin came to be. It connects closely with Manus, the father of the Abyss, and shows how deeply the Abyss can infect the land and its people. It also ties directly to Sif, Artorias' loyal wolf companion, whose connection to the player is later reinforced in the main game if certain conditions are met. Though optional, the Royal Wood is one of the most lore-rich and emotionally impactful areas in the game. It's a place where players don't just fight, they bear witness to the downfall of a legend, stepping into a chapter of history that defines the tragedy at the heart of Dark Souls. Artorias Abyss, Chasm of the Abyss. The Chasm of the Abyss, also known as Artorias Abyss, is the final and most haunting area of the Artorias of the Abyss DLC in Dark Souls. Located beneath Ulakail, it is reached after progressing through the corrupted Ulasile Township, and it represents the deepest and most infected layer of the Abyss. This terrifying realm is shrouded in pitch-black darkness and teeming with Humanity Phantom's manifestations of pure suffering and despair, visually resembling writhing, childlike shadows. The atmosphere is oppressive, echoing with the cries of the damned, and it feels more like descending into the soul's raw, tortured subconscious than a physical location. Lore-wise, the chasm is the heart of the Abyss's corruption, where Manus, father of the Abyss, dwells. Manus is the true source of the spreading darkness in Ulasile, having been awakened and enraged by those who disturbed his grave. He is believed to be the primeval human, and his uncontrolled humanity has twisted the land and its people into monstrous forms. This location and its final boss fight serve as the emotional and narrative climax of the DLC. It's also strongly implied that Manus' essence eventually gives birth to the Dark Wraiths and the Abyss-related themes that echo throughout the rest of the series. For the chosen undead, the Chasm of the Abyss represents both a trial and a revelation. They face not only Manus, one of the hardest and most tragic bosses in the game, but also encounter the Spirit of Dusk and, optionally, Sif in one of the most emotional callbacks if saved earlier in the DLC. It's a space soaked in lore, pain, and loss, showing just how far the world can fall when the Abyss is left unchecked. The Chasm is universally praised for its oppressive design, emotional storytelling, and its role in expanding the Dark Souls mythos. It's where the player doesn't just fight evil, they confront the origins of darkness, and in doing so, become a part of the very legend they once followed. For many, it's the most unforgettable and meaningful area in the entire game.